WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. Dan, I hope you're having a better morning than Elia Taporia.
I hope we're having a better morning than your sodium intake from yesterday's live stream. We'll circle back to all of that, folks, but we got winners coming your way on the show. Yanni the Greek is here. Bill Krakenberger is here. Steve Merrill is here. So a great way to start the week for you all tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. Right now, though, Andy, what do we do at the top of every show? 30 seconds in. WagerTalk Today play of the day. It now stands at 29-18, a free client play for you just for tuning in, Andy. And no more NBA, no more NHL that we can do for the play of the day. We cashed a bunch on Jordan Staal, but now we head to the Diamond for likely the remainder of the summer outside of the WNBA. What are we rocking with here?
Yeah, so this is the part of the year where, there's going to be some less options. The good news is it's a World Cup year. So this is just a big time blessing. And we will talk about World Cup. We got a free play in that, and we'll get Dan's thoughts. But let's talk about Mitch Spence, shall we here, Dan, the starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. And we're going to fade him by taking the Nationals over 4.5 on the team total. This guy has started once. He's had one appearance this entire season. He went 4 innings. He allowed 4 hits, 6 earned run, 5 walks. So he was not good. So I went back and looked at last year, and we got more of the same issues here. 5.1 ERA. He ended the year bad. His last few outings, he really got rocked. And this is a Nationals team. These bats have been pretty good all year, and recently, really, really good. 6+ runs in 4 straight. On top of that, this is what really sells it. The bullpen for the Royals is awful, 4th worst in MLB. So Spence gets the start. He probably doesn't go very deep. Then a bad bullpen comes in. It sets up beautifully for the Nationals to go over 4.5 for their team total.
I love it, man. It makes a lot of sense to me here. So yeah, let's get some runs going here to kick off the week. I'm all in, Andy. Let's go over the 4.5.
Yeah, congratulations to the New York Knicks. An incredible run. I saw one of the most insane stats. This is wild.
Is it a Hammer Thursday stat?
It can't give us a bet, but it's just a recap. We go back. The Spurs led 72% of the finals and lost 4-1.
72. Didn't they like lead by a total of almost 80 points throughout all of the games that they lost? It was crazy, man. That's what I mean. It's like, Knicks fans, you should be excited. You know what I mean? Because that was an awesome way to win a championship. I was listening to the radio call, which I think their radio team does an incredible job. And the way that he kind of painted it as was the team who showed you that no lead is too big and no guard is too small. And I think that's how the Knicks will ultimately be remembered. I mean, at the end of the day, the Spurs did way more. The Spurs lost a lot of games in that series, but it takes 2 to tango. And every time that they slipped up, the Knicks were ready there to capitalize. So one of the most dominant stretches in NBA postseason history that they laid down. They lost 1 game, and it was the one game that we were like, maybe we put the Spurs on the money line. Yeah, exactly. So, it was a historic run. Congratulations to Knicks fans. There's nothing quite like your team winning a championship, especially when you have a huge drought. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited. I have friends who are Knicks fans. However, how dare all those Eagles fans that were out there destroying cars and lighting people on fire. Those Eagles fans, man, that disguise themselves in Knicks jerseys, because it's only Philadelphians that do it. Shame on them. Shame on them, Andy.
What is it in our nature when our team wins something? We're just like, I got to destroy something.
It's the Fred Durst in all of us. Let's break some shit.
That's the funniest one. All right, let's bring in Yanni. Yeah. Yanni, we definitely are going to talk about the insane UFC event last night, but we got to get to some. In sports investing here. We've got World Cup, we've got WNBA, we've got MLB. Let's start with World Cup. Kind of exciting sport. What do we got for today?
I'm loving the World Cup, and if Ecuador didn't allow that foolish goal with minute left or whatever, it'd have been another winning day yesterday. But so far, so good. Still sitting number 1 in profit in soccer. And we fired on 3 of the World Cup games today. Here's what's going on. You got to remember, most of the sharp action that I've seen, at least in the accounts, has come in a lot of the team totals in those smaller markets. Not much side and total action, you know what I mean? Like in the 3-way lines and stuff like that. But able to gauge by what they're betting on those smaller markets, at least where the lean is. And when it lines up with what we have power ratings, so far, so good. Here's what we got today. Spain's actually getting all the money, obviously. The question is the handicap. They're not making them cheap. And most are laying the goals. So it's kind of like how badly can Spain make this? Like how ugly can they make it? Can they win by 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals? That's the question. It was all Spain, at least the early game. And not much action when they're that big of a favorite. The only thing I saw in the back, like no sharp action. I saw some public tying up like parlays with later action. Now it's the later action that we're seeing most of the volume come in. Belgium, Egypt's getting a lot of money, and Iran, New Zealand's getting a lot of money. Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, not all that much. I'm seeing public money coming in on Belgium and public money coming in on New Zealand, both of those sides. Power rating wise, they don't really line up. I kind of lean the other way, to be honest with you. Even in that Spain, Cape Verde, here's what you got to remember. With soccer, what makes it difficult is the 3-way line, you know, with team A, team B, or the tie. Like, this is the perfect example of, obviously, if you're going to cap it, you're going to cap it with Spain. What's their implied win probability? What's the Verde implied win probability? And then what's the draw? In this one, believe it or not, like, we gave Verde about a 5% chance of winning this game. Okay. So, like, even with you should factor in 5% chance to anyone as a black swan, just in trading in general. But make a long story short, so at 5%, right now they're getting plus 2,800. I think I saw. Obviously the game went off, but I'm bringing this up because that went off at plus 2,800. That 2,800, the break even's 3.5%. We have it capped at about 5.5%. In that instance, like, I'm supposed to bet Verde plus 2,800. Now, granted, they're not going to win this game, but that's the value that you find now in the World Cup. Like, if you're not going to make money just betting those top teams. Like, we've already seen that over the first couple days because of the draw, the tie. That's the key. Because of that tie, it's made it difficult. Like, at least the bookmakers I've spoken to, like, they've been doing well so far from recreational bettors betting. So again, most of the action's coming in on favorites every single day, but be cautious because it's that tie that's been costing everyone. At least that's, you know, what I've been seeing, betting that 3-way, because we have how many ties right now? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ties in like 10 games. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's hard to overcome.
Yeah. Cape Verde getting get 1.5% value there. So,
yeah, I didn't bet it. I'll be honest.
I was about to say, I'll also put my Venmo up on the screen, Yanni, for anyone who wants to bet the Cape Verde money.
They make it difficult. That's the problem. Like, again, even with the other matchups, having to give up the half a goal, take the half a goal when there's that tie element, that's the makes it difficult. And if you don't bet the 3-way, then you see what some of those chalk is. Like today, try to bet Iran or try to bet Uruguay or try to bet Egypt or Belgium just to advance, just to win. And that it's so chalk. It's a lot of betting opportunities, but you do have to be cautious and selective because you could place a good bet and then again, things happen in ways that we're just not used to betting other sports as compared to soccer. So I think for a lot of bettors, it's that twist in the handicap of how do I factor that tie into my handicap that's given most bettors a problem.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, we'll touch on UFC last night, but there was UFC is another sport where it's like, this guy's chalk. I'll just try and pick a method of victory to get a better price. And then oops, the submission instead of KO. So, what are we seeing in MLB? Good slate of games today.
Yeah, not a lot of steam, so I got a little special for you. Let me share stuff that I have seen in the accounts first. 951 Miami plus. Was that 175? 956 St. Louis minus 140 and the over 8.5. 970 Dodgers minus 155 and the over 9. And then they laid the 190 on the Cubbies and they went over 8 on the Mets Cincinnati. So I didn't have a lot to share. So instead, I'm going to share what I do each and every Monday. When I get my updated power ratings and projections for the Major League Baseball season, I write down those teams that are outperforming and those that are underperforming. So those teams that have been underperforming going into this week that I'm looking to do better, to improve on their record are the Mets, the Royals, the Tigers, the Red Sox, the Orioles, Seattle, and San Francisco. So these 7 teams, New York Mets, Kansas City Royals, Detroit Tigers, Boston Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles, Seattle Mariners, San Francisco Giants. Those 7 teams have gotten unlucky based on their runs scored, runs allowed, and the way they're obviously the games played out. They should have more wins than they do. So those are the teams that are playing below what they should be playing. So we want to look to back those teams in opportune spots. Teams that are playing above their data, that are outperforming their metrics, and we expect them to come back down to earth. So these teams, we're looking for positions to fade. Yankees, Tampa, White Sox, Atlanta, Milwaukee, St. Louis. Again, New York Yankees, Tampa Bay Rays, Chicago White Sox, Atlanta Braves, Milwaukee Brewers, and St. Louis Cardinals. Those are teams we're looking to fade, meaning not automatically, but if we are going to back them, we need extra conviction because we know they've already gotten a little bit lucky and you can't sustain luck forever. We expect them to come back down to earth. And with those other teams, no surprise, they're the bad teams, right? The Kansas Cities, the Detroits, the Baltimores. Those teams we expect improvement from, but those are the teams that are hard to bet. And that's, again, those are where you're usually getting value. Those teams like the Dodgers, teams like the Braves, teams like the Yankees, again, they're very hard to make any money off of because even if they do have good winning records, they're just not profitable. That's the problem. Because of the just like the point spread, the money line becomes the great equalizer as well. So keep that in mind with baseball. I know it's difficult to bet some of these teams, but I promise you, like, we have a big enough sample size now that it's hard to argue that about teams in baseball that do come back down to earth and teams that look terrible but aren't as bad, at least what they've performed to date. Again, it's hard to bet some of these teams, but they should improve. That's for sure.
Rob wants to know, what point do you move off the metrics and shift to more of season trends? August? Does that make any sense? Oh, we might have lost Yanni.
It was too good of a question. Good of a question. We'll see if we can.
Great question, Rob.
Back there.
He froze up. At least Yanni's face wasn't that bad. Most of the time when it freezes, like,
you're looking up,
really dumb. So, so we'll wait and see if he gets back on. Recap of UFC. Everything was going right for all the parlay bettors, and then in the main event, Topuria is 1 second away from winning, makes one bad decision, and then proceeds to take one of the worst beatings I've ever seen in a UFC match. Dan, at one point, the doctor said, no, he can't continue. And the ref was
Did he wave him off?
I've never seen a ref wave off a doctor. That is like malpractice. I can't believe they did that. Unbelievable. So, Yanni, here we go.
Great night of fights. What a great night of fights. Real quickly. All right. Well, let's get to the question.
Yeah. So at what point do you move off the metrics and shift to more of season trends? All-Star break, August. Does that make sense?
No, never really. I think I understand the question, meaning at the All-Star break, some of these teams that are going to quit on the season, like, do you no longer pay attention to the metrics because you're looking at a different team now? If they're bringing a bunch of youth from AAA, it's no longer that same team. So, yeah, at that point, I obviously have to handicap it differently. If anything, a lot of times it's a positive on those teams because now you got motivated players that are trying to stay in the big leagues. So I am forced to make adjustments based on each team individually. But at the end of the day, I always try to stick to the numbers and eliminate all the noise because that's the only thing that ultimately matters. Yesterday's example was a perfect example in the UFC. Like, there's just if you listen to the narrative and even most of the time believe your eyes, a lot of times we're tricked into believing things that just aren't how they are. Ilya Topuria, perfect example. We went into the narrative was I started believing it. It can't be beat. He's the most the best MMA fighter we've seen in forever. He's as complete as they come. And again, once you get that narrative out there, it's hard to fade someone like that. But that's exactly what you have to do as a trader. Again, it was explained to me when I really got serious and with stocks and stuff. And it was explained that you got to run into the burning building. That's it. When everyone's running out, you have the balls to run into that burning building because everyone was running out of that burning building with Gaethje last night. Everyone was running into that it was all easy. Topuria easy. And again, it's never that easy. So getting back full circle to that baseball, I know it's going to be hard to bet Kansas City. I know it's going to be hard to bet Baltimore. It's going to be hard to bet Seattle. It's easier to bet the Yankees. It's easier to bet Milwaukee. It's easier to bet St. Louis. I get it. But we know that it's just unsustainable to outperform to those degrees. And we can bet our life pretty much on it that some of these teams are going to regress because the sample size is big enough that you eliminate randomness. That's just the bottom line. We talked about the teams earlier in the season, and they've already done it, and these teams are going to do it too. The Braves will not win 65% of their games. That much I can promise you. Milwaukee will not win 62% of their games. Yankees won't win 61. That's not sustainable. That will not happen. So those are the teams we're going to be looking to fade. Tough to do, easy to say, but that's how you got to do it, at least in baseball.
All right, here's my thoughts on UFC. Then I'll get yours. Diego Lopez continues to not look great until he turns the fight into a firefight, and then that durability gets there. Bo Nickel, maybe the striking is there. Michael Chandler is about as done as it gets. So is Derek Lewis. That was such a setup for Sean O'Malley and Zahabi, which, by the way, that was a horrible stoppage, but O'Malley baited the ref into stopping it by doing the salute thing. Like, if you look, Zahabi was fine. My heaviest play was Cyril Gane, and he looked great. I think Alex Pereira isn't. I don't know what they do with Alex Pereira now. He's too slow at heavyweight to compete. And then, Topuria has Gaethje down, makes one dumb decision to get on the ground. But there was a couple things. So I had multiple friends reach out to me today that don't watch UFC, and they watched last night, and they said, I like that. And I was like, they're not all like this. Like, next week, you're going to be pretty disappointed if you watch. But I had a couple thoughts. 7 fights, not a bad amount of fights. Could UFC move to fewer fights? It feels like we have so many of these fights, and some of them are just bad on some of these cards. That was one of my thoughts. The pacing was beyond disgusting. It took forever to get in between those fights. I don't know. Those are some of my thoughts. What did you think?
It was a production. Like, I knew going in that it was going to be different than any other telecast. That was the goal. I thought they did a phenomenal job pulling it off because of all the negativity coming in. Like, if anything, there was such hating And it was almost like they pitted sides again. It was like Republican versus Democrat, and is this political? And I think UFC did a really good job of not doing that. Of even though there's a Republican in office and Trump's friends with Dana and obviously a UFC fan, and he's the reason they're at the White House, it wasn't the Trump agenda. It was about the history of America, which is what we were supposed to be celebrating there. So I thought the UFC did a phenomenal job. And all those people coming in, the Thomases of the world that were just talking so bad about how awful this is and the mix of politics and government. He looked like a fool today because they did nothing of that. They showcased these athletes. They showcased America and its history and the greatness. That's all they did. It was a celebration of America. And it's awesome that we got to see a good MMA card. With that said, I thought from a betting perspective, it couldn't have ended better for me, except if Garcia got the W. But here's the bottom line. I look back because this is what I do, and I thought Garcia at that price was the right side because I don't think that Lopez does that 2 out of 3 times. Like, I do think that at least close to 40% of the time, Garcia is able to not get finished. And if he doesn't get finished, I think he gets the W. Like, I'm not upset with placing that bet, even based on how it played out. The rest of the way, like with you, Gane was my biggest bet. I had a 5% on Gane, and I had a Gane inside the distance.
Yes.
Plus 20. So that, again, it turned out great, bro. And I wasn't all that surprised on what Gaethje did, because we've seen it over and over and over and over again. Once the narrative is this guy's unbeatable, that's when they usually get beat. And we're all like, damn, how did I miss that? So yeah, I think that the books ended up doing well, considering it could have been really, really ugly for them with all the favorites that got the money. But, I kind of wish the bettors did a little bit better. I don't see too many happy, celebratory, because I think that cost a lot of those live parlays that Topuria lost. But overall, I enjoyed it. I loved it. The results went really well for me when the dust settled, so I'll take it. And on to the next one, baby. On to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So fun night. Again, if you've looked at next week's card, just get ready for a little bit of letdown. And by a little bit of letdown,
I was hoping they took a week off, to be honest with you.
I'm stunned that they didn't. I'm stunned with all the production and stuff. So anyway, we're running a little long. What do you have up for everyone on Monday?
All right. Only thing up is what's front and center, and that's the World Cup. I passed on the Spain game, but I've got all 3 games in that package. Again, sit number 1 in profit in soccer for 2026. Baseball, I haven't confirmed any premiums yet. That's why the Steam sheet isn't up. I'll attach it to a soccer play so that subscribers are able to see the Steam baseball, because I'm not forcing anything. We're turned the corner and want to keep doing it and staying selective and firing. So big week ahead of World Cup action in Major League Baseball. NBA's over. NHL's over, but that don't mean we don't have action. A lot to get to. So best of luck to everyone the rest of the week, and hope you guys do some damage.
Thanks, Yanni. Appreciate it. Thank you, love talking to you on Mondays. Dan, gotta say, congratulations to the soccer department on our team. A slick 5-0 start to the World Cup. Incredible. We've got a 4% best bet that's up. You guys are picking your spots, and it's been working. You're seeing it great.
Yeah, we're just, like we said, heading into the tournament, we felt really prepared. Jan and I, we, did our preview show. We got a lot of people who were bashing us in the comments, and we love that. You know what I mean? That's what we look forward to, so we can prove them wrong with the client plays. And it's been a great start, right? And like you said, there have been sides that Jan has talked me off of. There have been that I've talked him off of, and some of them would have been losers. So that's where I think our selectivity in a tournament that's going to have 104 matches. There's so many betting opportunities, but which ones are quality ones? One thing that I think we learned kind of through the beginning of this tournament, and we're still in group play, and we have plenty of groups that we haven't even seen yet. And then starting at the end of this week, Thursday, we're going to get to see teams react, some overreactions, things like that. One thing that you learn about the World Cup, and I think people forget, is heading in, like we're contrarians by nature, Andy. The World Cup historically is a very chalky tournament. However, you have to find a way to be able to cash in on that chalk. And that's something that Yanni was kind of alluding to there was, this three-way line is the ultimate equalizer. But that's why we like looking at tie no bets. That's why we're looking at the handicap line where we're getting a half goal. For instance, we were dead wrong on USA. We didn't think USA was going to start off, but we didn't make it a client play because we didn't like it enough. So we got one that we like tonight. We have a free play that we'll give you a little bit later in this Egypt game. But, man, it's been fun. You were watching the UFC. You were streaming the UFC. I only saw a little bit here and there because I've been dialed in. Every single match, watched at length, and we're learning a lot about these teams.
Yeah. Well, we were watching everything. Hockey.
Your screens were just you runneth over. Over.
Yeah, so we got a 4% package that's up. Attached to that is an MLB prop. It's the free play I gave out today, but we also have a 4% WNBA play that is up. So you're getting a pack number one in WNBA profits this year, number one in World Cup. That's what we got rocking. But again, we're still running these specials. Go to the specials page. At least get a 3-day pass, 6-day pass. Seth is locked in with a 6-day pass for us after we went head-to-head. And as always, I appreciate Seth stepping up to the plate and saying, care to make things interesting. A lot of fun. So, all right, let's bring in Bill Crackman. Enough of me yammering on. Bill, happy Monday.
What's up,
Hey,
Bill?
good morning, guys. How you guys doing? All right?
I'm exhausted, man. I'm exhausted. I had to stay up and watch the UFC fight on a Sunday night. My body
while streaming it live.
Yeah,
I heard it was fantastic. I had some people sending me video clips, and I'm not really a UFC guy, but I heard it was they did a great show, and it was a great event. And then people kept on, at least two people said something to me about, did you see this upset in the last fight? So obviously something happened there where there was an upset. But underdogs win sometimes, but this was some kind of a special, unique situation. Did you guys both get to watch that last fight or no?
Oh yeah, and that guy Ila Topuria, he was pound for pound best fighter on the planet, and he took one of the worst beatings I've ever seen in UFC. I mean, at one point, he had a bone almost sticking out of his skin from how bad his orbital broke. His brother had to stop the fight. His brother had to step in and stop the fight. It was career-altering damage. The guy went from pound for pound best fighter in the world to we're not going to see him for a year, and he's forever different.
Wow. Now, pound per pound best fighter in the world. Does that guy make like $1 million a fight? Like, is that kind of money in UFC like that? But yet he'll be done for a while. Sounds like.
The more fights you have, the bigger paydays you get, and then guys got bonuses. So he's one of the higher paid fighters on the roster for sure.
I got you. Well, we're coming off a week of great championships where the best teams won. I mean, Carolina beating Las Vegas here in Nevada, and I am. As much of a fan as I can be for sports in general, it's really hard for me to be a fan of any team because, like I said, like I care for the New York Knicks just about as much as they care for me, which is very much close to zero. So I don't care about the individual players. I don't care about the city. I don't care. Now, I'm not saying I don't care about the city. I'm actually glad, for New York. I mean, I am a New Yorker and grew up in the Jersey Shore. So I guess I was rooting for the Knicks there. But if I'm betting San Antonio, which I didn't, by the way, but my allegiance is whoever I bet. I don't care what happens to these guys off the court. And that's any sport, really. I have been saying it for decades. My allegiance is my bankroll. So, but however, it was nice to see them come together as a nice underdog. I know I host a Fox Sports radio show on the weekends, and both of my co-hosts, and not only them, I think the public just thought in general the West was going to win the championship. So they were OKC and then San Antonio. But yet the bookmakers I've spoke to I know we interviewed the BetMGM risk guy. Either side they were losing because they needed Oklahoma City to win. San Antonio was going to hurt them if they won. The Knicks probably hurt them a little bit more by the Knicks winning. They had some really big Knicks future prices out there early in the year, as did a lot of other sports books in this town. So you know what I always say. It's I have many sayings. Today will be from Reservoir Dogs. That's the world's smallest violin playing for the bookmakers. They're gonna kill people on same game parlays and parlay cards and parlays in general is where they make their money. So, and they make a fortune. They make a fortune. So there's gonna be no crying in baseball, no crying for the bookmakers. However, a lot of them did lose money on the series, even before the series. Like I said, before this Knicks series, I know of at least two bookmakers who had giant losses if the Knicks won the series. And then before the series, they actually took more money. The public was actually on the Knicks. It opened up plus about $1.90, $1.95 I seen, and then quickly went down to $1.70. So the public was actually taking the Knicks here on their. They had a big streak again. I think they had 11 in a row going in, or something like that. So yeah, so the public got the money here a little bit. It seems like with the Knicks and good for New York. Good for New. I shouldn't say. I'm just a little bit tough on what's going on there with the mayor of New York City, and so I usually don't get political. Not really both sides I can yell about, but the mayor over there and what's going on there, it just bothers me. So anyway, congratulations to the Knicks. Congratulations to Carolina. There were some fun series, and I was really rooting for Las Vegas, for the city here, because they do a great job here. Whenever I go to one of those Las Vegas Golden Knight games, I'm always saying, "Wow, I can't believe what a great job they do promoting the team, the city. They do a great job. It's fan friendly, it's kid friendly. They get the kids into it, the fans." Unlike any other venue I've ever seen in any sporting event ever. So I was rooting for them, but hey, Golden Knights got there again. Though they're a tough team. They really are. They weren't picked to win it all either. So Carolina is just a little bit tougher. Congratulations to those guys. Um, Guys, I don't know if I was gonna work into this, but just to let you know, just now I told the guys up at Wager Talk to we're gonna add another play to my futures package. NFL futures. Listen, I absolutely have destroyed NFL futures over the years. Regular season wins. This is actually a division that I put up winner out there today. But I'm going to add more. I'm going to add another 5 more. We'll probably have at least 10 on that package by the time the season rolls around here. But regular season wins. And I think I even have a free one for you guys today. Were you expecting that? I don't know.
Oh, that sounds great to us. Let's hear it. So what are we? Because
Oh,
that's one thing that I was going to circle back with you and just wonder, as all of these seasons close, like, do you already start looking forward to next season? Way too early to be talking futures in that, but in MLB, this is where you start dialing in even heavier, right, Bill?
well, this is actually NFL futures though for me because
Oh,
I want
yes,
to get these.
please.
Yeah, no, I want to get these prices. I actually want to get these prices before a lot of the markets are out there.
Let's
I,
do
I
it.
usually fly down to Florida in April and May because Hard Rock is very good to me down there, and I've done very well down there. Every time I go down there with tickets has been 3 times, by the way, 3 years. I always think they're going to say, because I'm told that they throw people out and cut down winners. They've been very good to me. Now, it could be because I always talk good about them. I tell the truth. I tell the truth about Hard Rock. I love the properties, both of them, the one in Tampa and Hollywood. Absolutely love them. And I've actually done well there. I have been able to bet some large futures on baseball futures. I thought I was going to get thrown out last year. I won a hell of a lot of a good heavy 5 figures there, and they paid with a smile. So I was happy to see that. I went down there this year. I only bet one, but I went down at an unusual time. I went down early April. There wasn't a lot of stuff up yet. So and now that we're here in June, it's so hot and humid in Florida. Tough time of the year for me to go, but I'm going to go down in the next month to hang out with Kelly in Vegas. So I told her that I'll be down there sometime in mid-July. I don't know which one, either Tampa or the one in Hollywood. Okay, so let's give you guys one. This is the Green Bay Packers under 10.5 wins, minus $1.40. This is a really tough division. You guys know how good the Bears did last year. They really showed they were a contender, proving a lot of us wrong. I was anti-Bears last year. Still had a good futures season, but I was one of them. With my losses was the Bears. Lions are still strong. The Vikings got a big upgrade at quarterback, and maybe Jordan Love from Green Bay. He might not be. I think he regressed a little last year, so he might not be that franchise quarterback that people thought he was. So I don't think they get to 11 wins this year. Um, you know, it's funny. I say he might not be the franchise quarterback, but look what these quarterbacks make. I think they paid him 55 million a year. I think they gave him either 250 or 275 for 5 years. That's million, by the way. So they think highly of him. I understand, but I think he did regress a little bit last year. And I do like Green Bay under, and because they're in a tough division too. That's probably one of my best divisional bets is and that's in the package that people buy, but we're going to give that, we gave that one out free to you guys. Like I said, I have 3 or 4 other season wins in there that, and I'm going to add some more the closer we get to the season here. And by the way, I say closer we get, we're less than 2 months away, less than 8 weeks away from preseason football. So like 7 weeks away from preseason football. Unbelievable here already. I just can't believe how time flies. I can't wait because that's my wheelhouse is preseason football, NFL props. Don't really do a ton on NFL sides, but maybe some totals. But they're very obtainable lines too. So everyone has NFL player props out now. So wherever you go, 30. I just heard the other day, 38 states. However, even more with these other markets, prediction markets and stuff. I live in Nevada here, where legally we cannot bet on the Kalshis and Poly markets and the different prediction markets here. So I haven't ventured into that yet. However, I'm told if I travel back, I'll always consider home New York. So if I travel back home to New York or New Jersey, I could sign up for an account there and play there. And different, just in Nevada, you can't play with the prediction market. So it's kind of interesting, though. You have states like Florida, Texas, California. People could play there. California's trying to fight it. The Indian gaming, which is a very strong, those tribal commissions, very, very strong. They're fighting. I know they're fighting the prediction markets, but right now I think you're legal to play there. I think Nevada here, boy, this state, I'll say it, this town, even though our capital is Carson City, if you ever go up there, what a great little trek. I have flown into Reno and drove up to Lake Tahoe. I always stop in Carson City. You really are we still the Wild West out here. And it's that line from Casino when the county commissioner comes in to see Ace Rothstein. It is so true. It is so true. Mr. Rothstein, you're all just our guest here. It is so true. This town, this city, this state, they fight against these other types of gambling, like prediction markets, like the new sports books. We have DraftKings over here, a couple miles from my house. We have DraftKings, and that's their home office where they are taking the bets and risk. That's the risk department is right there, approving or denying bets for all over the country. Yet you can't bet right there in this state, in this town, because the gambling boards and has not approved these big companies taking bets here because they want to keep it controlled. And it really is. They don't want anything like Cantor Gaming coming into town and doing what they did. Cantor Gaming got involved in a lot of legal issues, and they had some of the largest fines levied against them, up to I think upwards of $40 million in fines they paid when they were here, and it was kind of an embarrassment for the board and things they did. So they don't want that happening here. But that's where we're at, guys, with that. What else you guys got?
Well, I love the breakdown there, man. You never know when we're going to talk a little couchy and whatnot, but yeah, they do a good job of that. Best betting show ever. They do break down those markets for those folks who can bet over there. Bill, I do have a question for you though, my friend, as you have been just absolutely clicking in WNBA. Last week, you grabbed over 11 and a half units in WNBA, 6 your last 7 plays. So we'd love to see that. I know you got to play rocking tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you can get? You got anything you can sprinkle for the folks? You got any WNBA prop, MLB prop?
I forgot. I do have a WNBA prop. I always, try to get you guys the correct line here too. WNBA. I checked it at like 7 this morning, so a couple hours later. All right. Well, it's still 16.5. Okay, good. So let's go to the WNBA. Like you said, we actually been crushing the WNBA.
Yeah.
Tonight we got the Las Vegas Aces, Nalisa Smith over her points, rebounds, over 16.5, minus $1.30. She's over this number easily in her last 3 games. And tonight with Carter out of the lineup, she should be a close game in Dallas tonight. So I think she'll get some minutes there. She'll get 25, 27 minutes of play tonight. So let's go with her over points and rebounds, over 16.5, minus $1.30 tonight. There's a free one for you guys, and hope we continue this WNBA streak.
I love it. And they can get the best bet over at your page, WT.buzz/crackman. Bill, always a pleasure, man. Best of luck tonight. Keep that run going, bro.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I love it. Gotta love it, man. You messaged me on the side. This Spain and Cape Verde game is certainly it's drunk right now. It's drunk in the first half for sure.
This goalie for Cape Verde is like this getting blasted.
That's the thing though. Like a hot goalie in all sports can make a huge difference. In soccer, I mean that goal is freaking huge, dude. You know what I mean? Like a hot goalie can literally shrink that thing down to the size of a hockey net, and that's what you're seeing in this game to start. I do think second half, Spain's having enough chances and they're having enough control. I would be pretty surprised if this thing didn't end. But yeah, these saves are insane right now.
Well, we're waiting for Steve Merrill. Let's do all around the world, kill a little bit of time here. But
Let's do it.
I got a couple of really good plays here. I'll let you talk about Belgium and Egypt and why we're looking at over 2.5.
Yeah, I just think that this number comes in a little bit short. I think the reason why you're seeing this at 2.5 when we've seen a lot of totals, more like 3.5 juice towards the over, is simply because the form heading into this tournament. We've talked about several times, like the form heading into the tournament does not matter. Things change once you get to the World Cup. Even though people were bullish on Germany, they didn't see Germany scoring 7 goals in their first match. So this number has a lot to do with the fact that in the last few games heading into this tournament, Egypt, you had a 1-0 win over Russia. They forced a 0-0 draw against Spain. They had a 4-0 win against Saudi Arabia before that. Nigeria, they played them in a 0-0 draw. So a lot of these games have been lower scoring for Egypt heading in. However, as they play against this Belgian side that has a lot of speed, a lot of great strikers, a lot of movement up front, this is a Belgian side that comes in averaging, Andy, just under 2.5 goals scored as a team. And we're talking about the game total sitting at 2.5. I mean, they have 5-0 wins, 7-0 wins, a 5-2 win over the United States men's team as they were in qualifying matches. So this is a Belgian team that can score 3 goals just by stepping onto the pitch. And this Egypt side, while they haven't conceded much, they also average just under 2 goals per game. They can score, and Belgium's going to try and turn this into a track meet. If it gets into a track meet, Egypt has enough to find the back of the net. I think you're looking at least 3 goals in this game, likely 4. You could see a 2-2 tie. Likely my projected scoreline, Andy, a 3-1 win here for Belgium. 2.5, it's a little too short. We're going over in the World Cup. This game's at 3:00.
I will take a look at Chelsea Gray here. The Aces at the Wings, over 11.5 points. I don't know what happened the last couple games, but she has scored 29 and 23 points the last couple games. Is that going to continue? No. And I may be getting got here. The books may be getting me here on this one, but I'll be a sucker for this one. Her 3-point shooting, 9 of 13, 6 of 10. The last 2 games, she's been making free throws. She's making over 5 field goals per game. She's going to have a crash down to earth soon. Is it this one? I don't know. But I've noticed in NBA, NHL, you can have guys go on 10, even 15 game streaks of hitting the same prop. WNBA, you only get 3 or 4. So as soon as a streak on one of these props gets to like 4, I'm pretty nervous, and you almost want to go the other way. But 2 of these games that she's had 29 and 23 points. What does make me worried is the 3 previous games she had 12 exactly. So we're on a 5-game streak here, which is the reason why it's not a client play. The streak is probably coming to an end soon, but the only way you can play this is over 11.5 points.
Love it, man. I like both these plays. 2 free bangers for you, Andy, here. And let's bring in Steve Merrill. Steve Merrill is here. Steve, we got some MLB to talk about, man. We're happy to see you, brother. Let's get right into it. Don't leave the folks waiting here. So we'll talk Pittsburgh and the A's. Steve, this is one of the most interesting homestands, if we can call it that, in Major League Baseball history. The A's are the home team, as they were in their last series. However, they're going back to West Sacramento, California, to continue their homestand. So, Steve, how do we bet something like this? Pittsburgh coming in here, a fun Monday game here to talk about with a new series.
Yeah, don't you dare call them the Sacramento Athletics. They're only there for like 2 or 3
Just
seasons.
the Athletics.
It's just, I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, they go from Oakland to Sacramento, eventually in Vegas. They're supposed to end up in Vegas, but they're in Sacramento. But they're the Athletics, the football team, the baseball team. You know how I feel about those type of nicknames. So we'll look at this one here. It's a minor league park, and it has been an altitude hitter-friendly park, I guess you could say, somewhat the first couple of seasons. So you do see a little bit of inflated totals here in Sacramento because it's not Oakland, it's not Vegas. And it's ironic because I don't know if the park's not ready yet. They might play in Summerlin, which was the initial thought in Las Vegas, where the AAA team for Oakland plays, the Aviators. I saw a game there with Brian Leonard during the meet and greet 4 years ago. He and I met up for that ballpark, and that's a high-scoring ballpark as well. So let's see if these 2 pitchers can contain them tonight. Jared Jones on the bump. He missed all of last year in the big leagues. This year, a 4.7 ERA, and he's not been going any kind of distance whatsoever. In fact, in his September starts back in 2024, before he was shut down in 25 in the majors, he went 5 innings or less in his final 3 starts, and he's made 3 starts so far this season, and he has gone 5 innings or less, 13 innings total in those 3 outings. So Pittsburgh's bullpen will likely have some work tonight. That always brings in a little bit of a random variable. Offense has not been that good for the Pirates after their 6-game homestand against the Dodgers. They put up a lot of runs in that homestand, 18 runs, but then they cooled off against the Marlins, scoring 3 or less in all 3 games over the weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now travel cross country. Meanwhile, the A's, I almost called them Oakland. It's only been like 40 years I've been doing this, so I almost called them Oakland. The A's, the Athletics, remain home after 6 games against the Brewers and the Rockies. And we did see some high-scoring games. It wasn't Coors Field, but we had 32 runs yesterday on Sunday, and that's mainly because the A's gave up 23 of them. So their bullpen is obviously going to be very thin in this game tonight as well. I don't like the travel situation for Pittsburgh, but it's hard to trust the pitching situation for Oakland in this one. Tough call in this one. Athletics, Ginn and Jones. A little bit of sharp money's coming on Pittsburgh, and I think that's probably the right move. I would take a look at them as a live dog, plus 105, and it is a big total. It opened 10. It's now up to 10.5 because that Oakland bullpen is decimated. And also, Pittsburgh starter hasn't been that strong this season. So I'd lean over. I'd lean Pittsburgh as well, what should be a high-scoring game.
Some runs racking up, says Steve Merrill. Steve, we're going to talk Tampa Bay and LA, that aforementioned team that you saw those runs get stacked up for Pittsburgh. But first, Monday, it's a new week, Steve. No more NBA, so you get to breathe a little bit. So we'll transition you into getting people some MLB breakdowns and get you ready to go for your Fade the Public that'll be coming in the NFL season, the top 25 that will be coming. So there will be no rest for you, Steve Merrill, coming forward. But let folks know what you got. New week coming, WT.buzz/SM. What are we rocking with?
Yeah, so the NBA videos officially ended Sunday. We had on game 4, we had a 99% chance in the second half there would be a game on Tuesday. And then on Saturday, we had a 97% chance when they had the double-digit lead that we would have a game 6 on Tuesday. But the Spurs found a way to make sure I didn't have to do an extra video. So the NBA videos are officially done. Did every postseason game. Thank you for all of you that joined us. All the thumbs up, likes, positive comments, clicks, likes, subscribes, and hit that bell for instant alerts, because there will be baseball free play videos throughout the summer here on a weekly basis. And football's only a couple months away. We can't wait for those Thursday night prime games that went 16-3. I lost count last year on the Thursday night prime game. So we're looking forward to some football videos here in a couple months. But we do have baseball not only throughout the week with free play videos, but on a daily basis for best bets. It's your DBB, your daily bankroll builder. Your DBB is your summer project for the next couple months. Baseball is how you build that bankroll and get ready for football this fall. And I do have a strong Monday night best bet on my page. And don't forget, I post a free play every day as well. So if you're new to Wager Talk, if you're still building that bankroll, if you're doing your own handicapping, take advantage of the free plays. Yes, we have free play videos here throughout the week, but every single day I've got a free baseball play throughout the summer on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. You can get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. And while you're there, check out some special offers. The buy 3, get 3 free is still available, and they're stackable. So you can buy multiple 6-day packages for $69 before that offer expires, and then use them throughout the summer. And also the rest of the baseball season for just over $3 a day. That's about $1 a play for the rest of baseball. So if you're serious about getting ready for football, do it now and build your bankroll with baseball and get that daily free play. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And, of course, get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM.
All right, Steve, let's talk this Rays and Dodgers game. It's fun. When Lauer was first on the mound, we were like, hey, man, we should be fading Lauer, right? And then it didn't matter because the Dodgers scored 12 runs. And now that was when Lauer was a dog. Now they've gotten wise. They said, forget it. Dodgers can score on anyone and rack up runs. So now you're seeing Lauer as a -175. Shop around, find some different prices there. Favorite as their home taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. How are you looking to bet this one, Steve?
Yeah, the Blue Jays, of course, moved Eric Lauer over to the Dodgers about a month ago, and he was having a terrible season with the Blue Jays. And a lot of times you see maybe a renewed spark when a guy goes to another team, change of scenery, change of league. And I think we saw that in his first start against the Rockies at home back on May 26th. Lauer gave up just 1 run in 6 innings of work. But he's come back down to earth since his last 2 outings against Arizona and Pittsburgh on the road. He's given up 4 earned runs and just about 10 innings of work in those 2 starts. Overall this year, he still has a terrible 5.5 ERA. I really think last year was the outlier season with the 3.2 ERA because he missed all of 2024. The year before that, he had a 6.6 ERA in about 46 innings. So he's not a good pitcher. He's a below-average pitcher, but the Dodgers get by because of their offense, as you said. And they put up 11 runs the last 2 games against the White Sox. Yes, they started slow on Friday with just 2 runs, but keep in mind that offense was in incredible current form in the 3-game road trip at Pittsburgh before that, putting up 28 runs in 3 games. So this team has now scored 7 runs or more in 4 of their last 6 games. Tampa Bay also in pretty good offensive form. They put up 8 yesterday against the Angels. They remain in L.A., so it's an easy road trip for them here. Nick Martinez having a solid season statistically with a 2.4 ERA. But he did not fare well against the Dodgers last year, giving up 11 hits and 6 runs in just 11 innings of work. So I think both pitchers will struggle here tonight. I project Lauer to struggle really the rest of the season like he has for the most part. And by the way, Tampa's familiar with him being an AL East pitcher with the Blue Jays. Tampa's current lineup, a rock-solid .333 batting average, 19 for 57 career versus Lauer. And I think it's going to be a hit fest here tonight. I like over the total, over the 9.5, and it is 9.5 under, so you're getting over 9.5 even. It opened as low as 8.5, 9 in some spots, so you might want to wait. This is, by the way, the late ESPN game at 10 o'clock Eastern Monday night. Public will probably come in on the over, but I am seeing some over 9s, -120, -125 out there. 9 is a really key number. I always talk about this. Odd numbers are more important than even numbers because of extra innings. Because if this game is 4-4, it has to end up at 9 or more. So I like 9 over -120 better than over 9.5 even. But no matter you play it, play the over tonight. I think there'll be some runs on ESPN at 10 Eastern in LA.
And Steve, 2 breakdowns we got from you, and both of them were looking for runs. It's almost just tempting me to just blindly go bet the grand salami of runs.
Ooh, the
over.
salami.
That
Sounds delicious.
I know, right? It's a good lunch option and a fun bet to kick around with.
Well, and Dan, seriously, I think there's only like, what is it, 8, if I'm not mistaken, like 8 games, or maybe 10 games.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm counting here. There's 10, so it's a little bit more. But, that's always something that's harder to handicap when there's 15 games because there's so much random variance. But if you get like 8 or 10 games, you can maybe start looking at if you do like a handful of overs, it would make more sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing out of these 10 games, you got 1, 2, 3, 4,
They're
5,
all 8,
6
8 and a halves.
Yeah, yeah, 6 of them are 9 or 9.5 or higher. So who knows? It's just one to throw out there. But Steve, always a pleasure talking to you on Mondays here. Real quick, man, obviously, we're done with all the NBA videos, things like that. But as you zoom out, I mean, you were breaking down every single post game. A lot of folks are talking about, hey, is this Knicks run one of the most impressive that we've ever seen? Hard to argue with the fact that they only lost, in this final one of those ones at home. So thoughts on what we learned maybe from the NBA season? Way too early to go next season. But another thing I'm seeing on social media is barring any injury, get your Spurs futures in now because now they have lost it. So, Steve, thoughts as we turn the page to the next NBA season? It'll be here before we know it.
Well, I hate to be on the public side, but I've been saying it as well. And I told you, Dan, I think I told you, Andy, when I was on WagerTalk the other week, the Spurs are going to win 3 of the next 5 titles. It's just not going to be this season. So I think we're still maybe on track with that. But there's a couple of numbers I'll point out. First of all, everyone knows they had a double-digit lead in all 5 games, including the first quarter of all 5 games. They lost 4 of the 5. I joked earlier about in Game 4, there was a 99% chance I'd do a Game 6 video. In Game 5, there was a 97%. So I gave you those numbers. They had a 92% chance of winning Game 1 when they were up 13. They had a 83.5% chance of winning Game 2 when they were up 12, and then 99.5% and 97%. So they lost all 4 of those games with those percentage chances. They could have easily won this series 4-1. And people in the video were getting on me because I kept saying Spurs are the better team. And obviously, it's hard to say that when they lose 4 games to 1. And I do think the youth factor kicked in. When they beat OKC on the road in Game 7, we're all thinking, well, maybe youth factor isn't a factor. But I do think it caught up to them. They have 3 guys, 22 or younger. But what's ironic about that is that the guy that hurt them the most probably was De'Aaron Fox, who's considered the wily veteran on the squad. He really underperformed at times, and I thought his minutes should have been limited more. We'll see what they do with him next year. Dylan Harper was a great 6th man as a 20-year-old rookie. He's going to be a star if he keeps progressing. Castle's only been in for 2 years. He's going to be a 3rd-year guy next year. If Wemby stays healthy, I do think this is the team to beat. But then again, the Thunder didn't have Jalen Williams. They're going to be tough. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Last stat I'll point out, which is really the most remarkable of all. Well, a couple of – first of all, the Spurs led 72% of the minutes in the 5 games. So there again, you can make an argument maybe they were the better team. They led 72% of the minutes in 5 games. But the one that jumps out to me is that the last 8 seasons, we've had 8 different world champs. The NBA has probably been the most top-heavy, consistent sport with back-to-back repeats of any sport. Yet we've had 8 different champs. 27% of the league has won the title the last 8 years. Spurs have not been one of them. So that does set up well. And I don't think the Pistons are going to get it done, but the Pistons were the 1 seed in the other conference this year, and they haven't won it recently. So do we have a 9th different champ in 9 years? Perhaps. That would be a fun bet for the sports books to post out there, and might be one you want to think about taking because the NBA has been wild, wild west here the last decade or so.
I love it, Steve. Go ahead, Andy.
I was just gonna say I haven't verified. I saw half the teams have been in the finals the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's wild. If that's
insane.
Yeah, that's crazy, Andy.
NFL.
I'll have to look that up because it's 8 of 30 have won it, and that's 27% because I actually got the calculator out for that one. But you're right. You think about the teams that have lost, right? We got the Pacers, obviously. And then, what are some – Cleveland, by the way, hasn't won it in the last 8, and they were a 4 seed. Detroit was a 1 seed. Spurs were a 2 seed. It's definitely possible. I'm going and by the way, the top 4, I looked the other day, everyone is like 25-1 or more except for 4 teams. I believe it was Thunder, Spurs, and Celtics, Knicks. And we'll see about the Celtics. I think it's going to be Spurs or Thunder. That would be my 2-team combo. But then again, I was wrong this year. I thought whoever won the West this year was going to win, and it didn't play out that way.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Spurs, I think they were the better team. It's like when the best in NASCAR, when there's one car that's great and then he loses on a restart, like right there at the end.
Right, lead the most laps, right? Led 72% of the laps, right? Led 72% of the minutes, right? It's you're exactly right, Andy. And people are like, well, he didn't win the race. Well, whatever. You know, we're Andy and I and Dan are looking at the long haul. We're looking at hundreds and hundreds of games, right? I'd rather a bad beat when you had the handicap correct than a lucky win. And a lot of people don't look at things that way. Recreational bettors are like, I'd rather have the lucky win, and I thoroughly disagree with that. Because if you're in for the long haul, and you know, and the other thing, guys, people got on me in the comments, which I thought was funny, is I kept talking about the regular season, the Spurs were the better offense, better defense, and everyone's like, well, the Knicks have been better in the playoffs. Yeah, and they got hot at the right time. There's no question about it, but they played a weaker schedule. I think an 82-game sample matters, right? Hey, but Brunson's great. He's always been one of my favorites, and his emotions at the end of that game made me like him even more. He is just so steady, never talks smack, just gets it done. 6'2". I was talking to some basketball people yesterday, and they all laughed at me. They're like, "Yeah, 6'1" at best." I'm like, "Wow, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive."
Yeah, and that's the thing too. But when you saw that calm, cool, collected demeanor really across their entire roster, it's because they already took all of these lumps. It might have not been in the NBA Finals like the Spurs. The talent tells you that they have enough to get there, but so much of what the Knicks were able to do right is because they failed at that exact same thing time after time after time.
Experience
again.
factor.
I'm right there with you. The experience was the difference. I'm with you. I think the better team may not have won, but the more experienced team who knew how to win and not lose and fumble those games away and never got too high, never got too low. I think that's what was really the mark of this great Knicks team, is steady-handed, and I think your assessment of Brunson is kind of their team in a microcosm.
Real quick, guys, I wonder, I mean, we'd research this. When do you think an NBA team has won the championship without making the playoffs a year before? I can't think of it happening. I mean, maybe it happened in the Bulls era when Jordan sat out. I don't know if they didn't make it like in 94, you know, but I mean, we all kind of thought like the Spurs were a year too young, like in the first and second round. We're like, they're not going to win this whole thing. But then when they beat OKC on the road in Game 7, a shorthanded Thunder team, you know, in hindsight. But the question becomes, Dan, do they have that experience now for next year? Did they gain enough lumps this year in the finals? But yeah, the NBA now it's what is it? 79 of the 81 have been a top 3 seed, and the Knicks were a 3 seed. They squeaked in and did it. By the way, one of the only 2 teams not to do it was the 6 seed Rockets, who did win both on the road in 94. So that was one of those other teams like the Knicks to do it and win the whole thing. But they'd won the World Championship the year before. They just had a bad regular season with some injuries and stuff. So love numbers, love history, and it's been a pretty fascinating postseason. And that Game 4 will go down as one of the most incredible. Yeah, I talked to more people this week, like mediocre basketball fans, about that than I've ever talked to about sports. It was pretty cool in hindsight.
I haven't watched a lot of NBA simply because I've fallen out of favor with the product. I watched every single NBA Finals game. So that tells you everything you need to know. Steve, getting to that 250,000 subscribers without you doing every NBA game would have taken a hell of a lot longer to get there. Without
baseball would have done it.
Yeah, exactly. Without you being one of the folks giving people free information here, we would not be the channel that we are. So, Steve, it's always a pleasure having you on here. Make sure you're tuned in and check you out, WT.buzz/SM. Appreciate you, brother.
And thank Dan Alexander in the comments, everybody. He basically did every one of those videos with me and produced them and popped them up, and Andy knows that as well. So Dan, the man Alexander behind the scenes, give him a like as well in the comments below. Boom.
And hopefully it brings us all some good luck and we all cash for ourselves and for the clients tonight. Like Andy said, we got plays up. Steve's got his plays up. Go check him out, WT.buzz/SM. Andy, we are rocking with some World Cup action tonight. So hopefully we get to continue that, man. Oh, no. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Jason's thinking
don't do it, because that second half is going to come. And if this goalie doesn't play the way that he does, the better bet for you to make.
The only thing is, if it hits, boy, do you have a story. Boy, do you have a story. Like, if
here's
it wins.
my thing. That's the thing. They're well, for what it's worth, Andy, pre-flop, Spain was, a minus 1,000 favorite, and now they're down to minus 475. So if you're Yanni, you're saying, oh my God, I'm backing up the Brinks truck to back Spain in the second half. Here's one thing that I will say, and what you have learned in these opening matches. This World Cup is different than any other because a draw, and then a win further on, you are going to qualify as long as you score enough goals. So Spain here, if they draw here, it's not the end of the tournament for Spain. You saw it with Brazil. With Brazil's first match, that did not go how it was expected. Now it was against Morocco, who's a much better side than Cape Verde. So I'm talking apples to oranges. However, a draw in match day 1, I hate to say it doesn't mean much, Andy, but it damn near means nothing, a draw on match day 1. So that's what I'm pausing of backing up the Brinks truck on Spain here.
Yeah, I mean, this in years past, Spain would be in pure panic at this point. You'd be like, we can't draw.
We need to find a way. And for what it's worth, too, you know, the group that you're going to be seeing here, they also see Saudi Arabia, who has won at least one game in each tournament in their last few. They also see Uruguay. So while it wouldn't kill them, this is one of those. I hesitate to say groups of death because it's really Uruguay and Spain. Uruguay and Spain are going to qualify for this group. Right here, it doesn't matter as much, though.
So funny. So, well, Jason, if it hits, more
come
power
back
to
here.
You. This would be
come back here if it hits tomorrow. If Cape Verde money line hits, that would be quite the upset.
All right. Great show, guys. Thank you to all the guests. Thank you, Dan. Let's go for 6 wins in a row in the World Cup. Incredible 5-0 start. So that goes off tonight. WNBA play and MLB play attached. And we will be back same time, same place tomorrow for $5 Tuesday and Dinger Tuesday. So we got some 3-day passes to give out and some $5 best bets. Good luck on your bets. Have a great Monday. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Take care.